I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity Quantum Thinking Sales Bootcamp training. All right, so here's a quiz. So let's say that I don't show up, like I'm 5 minutes. What do you guys do? Like, let's say I don't show up. Well, let's just say I don't show up. What do you guys do and why?
Again,
We
we get an
just
early start for our day.
Okay, that'd be one thing you guys could do. So in decision making, um, it's what like Ben Wittick. Did a coffee connection. He was 22, and we were talking, and he had a brother. It was just him and his brother, and they would come in and drag mud. So they'd come in, and boys being boys, they'd have mud, and it'd mess up the carpeting and stuff like that. And his mom or dad would yell at him, and he just thought that's what happened. Like he didn't realize there's another way to think. There's another way to handle that situation. So a lot of times people, they're not thinking. They're just all they are is they're just reacting. They're just like reacting. That's all they're doing. They don't think. And they're not paying attention real well to the world around them. Like they're being taught something else. So here's other options. Are you guys familiar with the walls of opportunities?
yes.
No.
So walls of opportunities is there's whenever you have an opportunity, a problem. We don't call them problems, we call them opportunities because our brain doesn't like problems. When our brain has problems, what we do is we shut down. So when we did homeschooling of the kids, we didn't have math problems, we had math opportunities. So it's training your brain to think a different way. I'm going to think a different way. I'm going to think. And so it's important to learn. And so when you have a problem, when you have an opportunity, first train your brain to think this is an opportunity, this is not a problem. And then you train there's 6 different ways to go ahead and deal with this. And so a lot of times we jump to conclusions like this is what we're going to do. We're just going to do this because we're not thinking. We're not thinking. We're not disciplined in how we think. We're just reactive. Questions?
No.
And so this is the slide. So walls of opportunity, when you have a wall of opportunity, you go over, you go under, to the left, to the right, you blow it up, tear it down. Somehow, some way you're going to make a breakthrough. It's not a matter of if you're going to go ahead, it's just a matter of when and how. And so often we go ahead and we go to the left, we try over, it doesn't work, go under, that doesn't work, go left, and it does work. And what do we do?
Stop trying new ways.
Right, right. So it takes discipline. It takes tremendous amount of discipline. And when you're in sales and when you own your own company, you better be disciplined. You better be disciplined. So one way is just get on with your day. That's one way. What's another? And why would you maybe do that way? Why is that way? Why is that way maybe a better way? And why is it so hard for people to do that? So you can tell the reflexes, they're not there, right? Even though I,
Right.
even though I'm pretty sure Kenny and Luke, pretty sure you both have been trained in it. The others have not, I don't think. But They're trained in it now. But when we say they're trained in it now, does that mean that somebody's going to do it?
Not necessarily.
Most likely not, because they've been exposed to the thinking, but they're not familiar. It's not part of their decision making, and they lack the discipline. They don't internalize what's being taught. They're like, okay, get on with this next guy. They're always going like that. They're not thinking. So in World War II, the Germans were really, really frustrated with the Americans. Anybody familiar with that story?
Yes.
No.
Go ahead, Luke.
Well, the Americans had the system where it's like if one of the top guys died, they'd get replaced. I mean, very short time. So when the Germans killed one of the top guys, it didn't slow anything down. He just got replaced and everything went on. I mean, I'm sure it slowed. Okay, it slowed maybe a little down, but he just got replaced with someone else, and they went on.
So in the Germans, you kill a top person, they don't know what to do. See, this is important. So Daniel, he just had his 15th birthday. He's our oldest grandson. And he went out to Annapolis, Maryland, and that's where the coast, or not Coast Guard, the Navy is. And so he started walking around. There's an event, people flew in from all around the country, and he started walking around. He's 5 years old. He's got this little notepad, and he's like, "What's your biggest challenge?" And Jorge, he flew in from Texas, and Jorge said, uh, "Daniel, like that's a that's a really good question. Why are you asking that question?" And he said, "Because my grandpa says it's an important question to ask." And I talked to his mom, my daughter, Ginger, and I said, "Did you ask him? Did you tell him?" Because I didn't tell him to do it. So he's paying attention. Like he's paying attention. So here's a 5-year-old. He pays more attention than, a lot of 20-year-olds, 25, 30, 35, 40. He's paying attention. Like my grandpa said, it's an important question to ask. So learning how to you want to be great in sales, learn how to be a great storyteller. You want the stories to be as few words as possible. But man, you got to have every word. So in the Germans, you kill the officer and they're done. Why?
They didn't, or well, they didn't have a system where somebody else knew what to do when the officer died.
What system did they have in place?
Mm, the the good to great book would say an a high producer with a million helpers. I don't know what to. It's like
So the Germans had an authoritarian system in place. It's where you follow authority. You do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told, do it with a great attitude. Now, Katrina's thinking, because this is week 3, and Katrina's thinking, but that's what Mark said. That's what he said to do. Like he said, do it told, when you're told, how you're told, do it with a great attitude. Now he's saying, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to do that. Can anybody help Katrina on that?
no.
So so there are some groups of people like the Baptists. Can you think of any other groups of people that, kind of train people to work in the factory, kind of do what you're told when you're told? Don't think about it, just do what you're told. Can you think of any other groups besides the Baptists that might train people to do that?
Maybe
Amish.
yes.
Yeah. A lot of groups actually do that. they you're supposed to do what you're told to do. Is that wrong?
Not necessarily.
Right. It's not. It's not necessarily wrong. So how's Katrina supposed to reconcile that? Like that's what she's, do what you're told when you're told, how you're told, do it with a great attitude, and you're gonna get what you want. But now Mark is saying after like in first day of week 3, he's teach well, there are so how when does she apply these natural laws? They seem contradictory. Like I'm supposed to do this, but I'm supposed to so that's when she needs wise decision making. And so one is when Mark dies, then somebody else has got to take over. Or if Mark doesn't show up, you guys have got to run this without me. Like he just doesn't show up. There was once that I had an appointment like every other Friday. And somehow it got wiped out of my calendar. And so every other Friday is harder than every Friday. Every other day is harder than every day. Consistency, if you're doing something every single day, it's easier because you're doing it every single day. So once it got wiped out of my calendar and I forgot. I should have remembered, but it was every other Friday and I just forgot. And I was out on a business appointment. And when I got back to the office, there were like 6 messages. The first one, "Hey, Mark, are you there? Hey, Mark, are you there? We're here." The third message, "Mark, did you get in an accident?" Like and so somebody has to slide in. Whoever's going to be the best leader slides in and takes over. Questions?
Nope.
All right, Kenny, what you got? Luke, what you got?
How do I determine? So I sometimes do estimates on Saturdays. If or when to call clients on Saturdays or not.
Why, if you're in the English world, you call anybody on a Saturday. Why wouldn't you?
Well, I had this one time where I kind of got the vibe where I don't want to. I don't know how to say it. Where it's like you're calling on a Saturday, or they looked at me kind of like I'm odd or something.
Do you think that anybody looks at me as a little odd, Luke?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah, didn't know. Um, and how do I receive that?
You don't really. It doesn't really affect you. I don't think so.
Why?
Because it doesn't matter.
Why?
Because those people are that look at you odd are just gonna look at you odd whatever you do.
Okay, it's because they're sheep, and they look at you because you're just a sheep. You're not a sheep, and so they think everybody's a sheep. They just think they're sheep, and it's like so being normal is way, way, way overrated. Now the Baptists, how I was raised, they like everybody being the same. It's the same. It's just you're supposed to be the same. Everybody's supposed to be the same. Can you think of any other groups that might go ahead and want everybody the same?
Sure.
Yeah, and so is that bad to be the same?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? people people hear words that I'm not saying, don't hear the words I am saying. They're like, you're saying it's bad. I didn't say that. I never said that. Well, that's what you're inferring. No, that's what you're thinking, because that's how you judge. You think if people aren't like you, they're bad. You're better than they are. That's what you think. You're projecting your thoughts onto me. You think I think like you think, but I'm not a sheep. You're a sheep. It's okay. If you're created to be a sheep, be a sheep. It's not a problem. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't make me any better than you. But don't think that everybody's like you. Just don't. I mean, you can. But you're not going to grow because you're going to be held back. You just will be. So to me, you want to be considered as somebody, like calling them at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I've done that. It's like, that's okay. They're a different time zone or whatever. And so, going to voicemail, like, hello, even then. So I want to be considerate of people for sure. But it's like, like on Saturday morning, like it was Saturday morning, we're having a podcast, and and Katrina made a big impression. I said, yeah, she said she wanted to work, she was going to be working for a season, not her whole life, but for a season of time, she's going to work 94 hours a week. And Tony said, well, God bless you. Like, wow, you had to get into public accounting. He was really impressed. And so, yeah, I don't see Saturday, it's fine. And so be careful about, like, if they, are you surprised by, you can just, like, are you surprised by that? Yeah. I mean, is that a good surprise? Bad? Like, we care about our clients. Like, if you want, like, Saturdays, yeah, we're going to be here for you. So does that help, Luke?
Yes.
Nice. Kevin, what you got?
So I was just wondering how I could manage to internalize everything if it's like so much information.
Yeah, great question. I don't know the answer. I have a rule that if I can't go ahead and come up with the answer in 3 minutes or less with a diagram, that I don't have deep understanding, I can just tell you this. The reason, like, if you were just going to ask me, how do you internalize everything? I have an answer for that. And that answer is have an amazing life vision. Have an amazing life vision. Because if you have an amazing life vision, everything's important. I mean, everything's important. Like, everything. Like, because Katrina's, I was going to say committed. Is it committed, or is she crazy? I don't know. I'm not sure. Not entirely sure. When she told me what she was willing to do when she started, I'm like, we'll see. We'll see. But she's lasted 2 weeks on a pretty, at a pretty intense rate. And so stamina, she got to do it. She doesn't have to do it the rest of her life, but she's going to have to do it, I don't know, for a period of season of life. She's going to have to do that. And so Saturday, she saw Mark, pretty intense tears. Like, this guy, wow, so when you have a life vision, Kevin, that's bigger than death, everything's going to be significant. But what you added to it, which was interesting that you did, which threw me off. So I knew the answer to the first question, but when you added to me, if you're being thrown so much information, ooh, well, I might have the answer to that, but I'm going to need to have your help in it, because this here, when I was probably, I don't know, in my mid 40s, is when I went ahead and wrote this. So this here, I'm sure you guys are going through it together, so talk to Katrina. She's working on getting this into Life GPS. You guys need to go through and read these. So here, I mean, when you look at this, phase one learning to think differently through engineered clarity, intentionality. Phase 2 is going to be the income machine. And so you go ahead and get into this. And there's 6 of them here. So the income machine. So you're all in a season of life where you're after earning a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you love money. It doesn't mean that at all. Hopefully you're seeing in the future and say, how can I invest my time for those that aren't married? How can I invest my time before I get married into something that's going to give a blessing the rest of my life? Like, I have got so much free time, and my kids and grandkids, man, do they love it. And I'm only 62, and I could have done that when I was 55. And so, for those that, are married and have young children, it's like your children are going to want you, need you more, even when they grow up than when they're little. And then phase 3 is going to be life, vision, passion, leverage, and a whole lot more. And this is where I'm talking, Kevin, where it's like, no, it's not actually this one. This one helps you to supercharge things. This one's really unlimited bandwidth and leverage and a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. And then my biggest challenge is me. It's in phase 4 where I'm overwhelmed. What leads before that is the secret about time. And so what's happening to all of you is you're being exposed to thoughts that most people are never exposed to. So it's like a foreign language. It's like when you guys are talking Amish Dutch, like really the only words I know is the ones that, don't have Amish Dutch words. And all of a sudden you flip into English, which I think is really kind of cool. Like, like, oh, I know what that word is. And so it's like a foreign language. It's like your brain. And so it's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. Like, I haven't followed up with Kenny, but you guys will probably remember, because you guys are working on acquiring the skill of the photographic auditory memory. You're seeking to learn to remember to have an photographic auditory memory. Like, so Kenny said, it's like I forget some words. He said, forget. I forget some more. And I've been meaning to go ahead and say, what did you mean by that? Because I think I kind of glossed over that. I didn't really dig into that. And I got to swing back around to it and say, what'd you mean by that? And so Kevin, going through these white papers, talking a lot to people, having every opportunity to come to Coffee Connection, bring your wife and your new little baby when that little one is blessed us. Like, bring them, include your wife and children in all of the things that you're doing. I did. It's really cool. I mean, everything's interconnected. So I don't have a great answer for you, Kevin, but at least a starting point. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Katrina, what you got?
Did you see my text?
I did not. Gotcha. Okay. Anything else?
Does the lead spreadsheet, does that make sense to you the way I colored it?
I have to look at that. So you're ahead of me. You go, girl.
Okay, that's fine. Otherwise, no.
Okay. All right. So, if anybody, always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Always, have an amazing day. You guys are awesome. Remember, next time, if the leader doesn't show up, you become the leader. Teach that to everybody around you too, because we can always accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.